Hey, I'm Ryan Faist. I also go by Boy Wonder, and you can listen to my album Kinda Blue too, which is out right now.
That's right. And that is why I've got you on the show this week, Ryan. Thanks for joining me from a very distant place called Toronto, which
Thanks for having
is,
me, Kane. I feel
yeah.
like I can almost see you from my stoop here.
Yeah, I've got my binoculars out. I think if you just wave a bit, I can spy you. Yeah, well, it'd be fun one day to have you in person, but for now, we're just sitting over Zoom chatting about his new album, Kinda Blue 2. And Ryan is not only a musician, but he's also a photographer and videographer. He's a very multi-dimensional guy. And I was explaining this before we started recording, but he sent over a very interesting pitch email, which I don't get too often, is ones that stand out in a good way. And yeah, it caught my attention. And then his music caught my attention. And then what really caught my attention was the video clips that coincide with your singles, because Kind of Blue 2 is more than just an album. How would you describe it, Ryan?
Oh, you described it so well already. It's the easy answer would be a visual album, but it's honestly, I think it's it's just the way I see the world through these, 4x3 video clips. As simple as it is, as opposed to, I just get I make music videos to keep the lights on, that's kind of my bread and butter. So I'm just sick of the convention of them, so to speak, especially for the, tends to be that the more stuff pays, the less sort of creative you end up being. And I just find music videos, are the marketing, ploy of them is served its purpose. And now I think you can just I think music now just needs a visual accompaniment as opposed to a sort of, you know, what we would call a traditional music video. And I don't know. I think there's a way to. It's just honestly, it's just adding sort of one more of your senses to the experience of the music.
Yeah, yeah. And what's cool about these ones as well is it's not just like any old clip or whatever. You've got some interesting people involved, because each song on the album, and they probably range between like a minute and a half, 2 minutes kind of tracks, but they're really cool, like DIY grunge rock. But these clips involve strangers, right? You don't know any of these people very well, do you?
I didn't, some more than others,
Mhm.
but I mean, for example, I've known Eddie, who's in the "Are You My Girl" video. I've known him since I was 16 in high school, and we have a interesting history there. But the other people I've just met through the city, sort of around the time when I wanted to make this record. Besides, also my friend Bro, who drums in the band, is
Okay.
in one of the videos smoking a big old doink, as you saw. But I would say, yeah, other than those two, everyone else is sort of someone I've just kind of just come into through the city and the sort of that those avenues that it provides with, you don't expect to. I think if you just sort of, float through this city and have open eyes, you meet a lot of really interesting people on the fringes, especially,
Hmm.
that are after the same sort of thing we're after.
And what would that be? What do you feel like we're all
They're
after?
just trying to find some sort of semblance of happiness, but that infinite pursuit I think is there for everyone. Whether it's you know Wiggs, who's sort of become the star of all of these videos, who is a recovering addict, sort of on the same trajectory as us now in this industry. He wants to be a film actor. He wants to succeed and be a director. And just because we come from very different sort of pasts, I haven't been an addict, but I think someone like him, like he's gonna flourish because of this sort of determination he has coming out of the darkness that I imagine he was in. But I don't know if
Yeah.
that answered your question at all. But
No, it did. Yeah, I was kind of curious because yeah, there's a few repeats and stuff, right? But for the most part, they do seem like just such raw characters that are real people, and it's always one of those. It's kind of like the Humans of New York situation where you see these, you know, I don't want to say different looking people, but people who definitely stand out outside of the norm, we'll say, and
yeah,
they and you just want to know, like, who are these people? What are their stories? Did you? how did you find some of these people? Like, did you just kind of walk around and approach them, or was there some sort of? I know you're saying some of them you knew already, but for the ones that you didn't really know, like, how was your approach to getting them to be the music videos?
Yeah, I think what you said there was great too. It's essentially, it's like the people you meet and the people you see in the city. You often might walk by someone like Chiquita, who is in the Hoodwink video,
Hmm.
and think, oh, interesting, cowgirl in the city, and then go on about your day. But I don't know. I saw her enough in the market and started talking with her, and I find out she's also aspiring to do all this shit. Like she wants to start making these short films with drones that she has. She wrote a book about crystals and that she gave to me that was in like its infancy, and she's like, please read it and give me notes and stuff. I just think there's you can maybe put your tuning fork to the city a bit more and get to know some of these people, even if it's on a somewhat of a a surface level. I still find them to be incredibly interesting. I just think these people, I don't mean the people in these videos, they're all people that I find so interesting and beautiful because they don't know they're interesting and beautiful, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
They are who they are without knowing who they are. And that's sort of, to me, that's the opposite of like superficial beauty or vanity. To me, this is people that are just like unabashed and just they are who they are, and they're not a carbon copy.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's such a nice way of putting it. It's yeah, it's almost like the rawness of humanity that you're kind of capturing in these videos, and it's the music too. Soundtracking it is it's kind of fun because it seems. How would you describe your style of music? Do you have a have you tried that at all? I know genres are kind of becoming outdated, but any way
It's
of
a
putting it?
You know what, I think it's the genre question is always like a uh, difficult thing to answer, and I feel like people just say what they think people would want to hear. But I don't know. I think it just sounds like me trying to discover what I'm feeling,
Yeah,
really. Within the constraints and the restrictions of certain gear, and I think that's really how I like treat music too. I think like I'll build a box or draw a circle and put the tools inside of that, and then you're left to sort of be a chemist within that, and whatever comes out. I think a lot of music that I love was built on limitations and not just had infinite possibilities to it. Like a lot of the stuff you might hear on the radio, it feels when there's too many cooks in the chemist's kitchen, like you got too many Walter Whites in there, and you're gonna come out with something like your meth's gonna be a little too pure. I think you want a bit of that crank meth, and that's what I got going.
yeah. Then you're gonna have the whole cartel after you, and Polos
Yeah,
Hermanos coming after. Yeah, no,
meth
I
meth
get that.
analogies. Meth analogies are not my strong suit.
No, it's at least it went to Breaking Bad. It wasn't anything too pure, but yeah, and I like the way you kind of summed up your album and your press, your pitch was you're talking about how it's wanting to take someone else's sadness from them and invite it in for dinner. It's a sad smile riding the merry-go-round of life, and it's important to keep putting quarters in the machine every once in a while. And yeah, the great metaphors, great analogies for sure. But I'm curious about how you were able to capture that within the album. How did you kind of go about showing that um, in the music and everything?
I think it just comes from empathy. I think it's understanding what someone else is, who they are, and how they feel. Really, how it is. And ironically, I talk a lot about figuring out how to feel, but I think that comes through these relationships you forge with people that aren't necessarily from the same walk of life as you. Um, but you find that through empathy, I think. And I think if the world was a bit more empathetic, we might you know be a bit better off. But I think empathy and sadness kind of go hand in hand. It's like the opposite of ignorance is bliss, right? I think empathy is sadness to a certain extent. It's
Yeah.
I don't think you can be empathetic towards anything necessarily great in life. It's not a it's meant to have the sort of sad connotation to it. And I think that's channeled. Me making the music is my own investment in figuring out how I feel, and then showcasing people that I find to be interesting and maybe, you know, have maybe a bit more of a chip on their shoulder are, to me, I think what makes the world more beautiful, more pure. And that's not to say like all the people in these videos have chips on their shoulders, but I mean, we all do to an extent. But it's people that I find, again, just so unique to themselves, and then I'm finding a way that I feel just like them. I see myself in them, you know, regardless of who it is in these videos. And that's some weird, like, I don't know, empathetic practice that I've been just trying to be more consistent with. Because I think empathy is, you know, one of the first solutions to the shitstorm that we sort of built as humans.
Yeah, that's a good point. Empathy does go a long way, and especially in the creative world where it can be a very competitive industry, and especially music, where it's almost such a great place to open up that camaraderie and that empathy. And it's interesting that you're able to kind of do that in different, different medium, because you also, like I said before, you're also a photographer and videographer, and you make music videos for a living too, which is pretty cool. Any interesting bands? I know you mentioned Dizzy before. Any other favorites you've worked with?
Dizzy, shout out to Dizzy, because they are one of the best Toronto bands, well, Oshawa bands. But I've started with them. They're my first actually. So I owe them my career now. But
what was your first song?
Your Dizzy
first time song, you know.
First time song, yeah. Oh, let's get into all the firsts. No, they were my first music video, and then I've done some others. You know, I did some for Colorado. Who else have I done them for that people would know? Oh, have you heard of Cleopatra?
Yes, those two guys out of Coburg. Yeah.
Hell yeah, I just did 2 videos for them. They met me at random, and they are gonna blow the fuck up.
I agree. I'm very excited for that album. I think that actually comes out the same day yours does, June 4th.
It does, which is a bummer, and that's the name of Cleopatra's album, out on June 4th as well. Yeah. So this is nice promo for them.
yeah. I don't see. This is what I'm talking about. You know, being supportive of other artists.
Yeah.
How did they meet you by random? I'm kind of curious.
Through the internet, which is nice. Their manager found me on some site that has like a curated list of directors in the city or something. Cool. I hadn't known about it, and I guess my stupid old website stuck out to them. So then jobs come from having a dumb website.
Dumb's one word for it, I guess, if you want to say that. I think it's pretty sharp. It's very aesthetically pleasing. So, and it's
HTML coding. Thank you. HTML from grade 7 definitely paid off. Like knowing the knowing the rudimentary HTML can go a long way.
I agree. That's a guy who has a website. Yeah, just knowing the basics helps.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can relate.
Yeah. And which video did you work on with them? Is it out already? Are you allowed to?
Yeah. So we did the video for Family Van, which came out 2 weeks ago. It's them in their
old van,
Dodge or Pontiac, fucking Michigan, whatever they have.
They're just rocking out there. Yeah, I remember that one.
Rocking out with strobe lights in the LCBO parking lot. So we did that one, and then we shot one last weekend, which is coming out on June 4th as well, which I won't be able to promote because I got to worry about my own shit.
That's fair, yeah. Actually, by this point, I guess this is airing technically after we were recording it about a week and a half earlier.
Yes. So yes, enjoy the video for Victoria Park by Cleopatra. I was there, and I had Jim's Pizza in Coburg, and it's some of the best pizza I've ever had. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Shout out to Jim's Pizzas too. There we go.
And Pepsi. Don't forget Pepsi.
Yeah, they're our major sponsor just for the, we're going to get Ryan here at the Super Bowl halftime show next year as well. It's all part of the deal. Yeah.
I'm such a fucker for wearing this hat. I'm sorry.
I actually like it. No, that's a sharp looking hat. It's too bad the podcast listeners won't be able to see it. So
true.
It's for the treats of the YouTubers. Yeah.
It's a big old Pepsi hat, folks.
Yeah. It's pretty vintage looking. It's nice. I might steal it when he's not home. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, too. And the other thing is, speaking about your videography stuff too. So this album has that visual aspect with like these people of Toronto that you've brought in, but you've also done a live album shot in a roller skating rink, right? The Fear in Public.
Yeah, that Scooter's Roller Palace in Etobicoke.
Ah, yes, the good old West End. Um,
Yes, Eddie Bioki, as they say.
oh yeah, what was that Netflix show? They've messed up the was it
Oh, was it?
Don't
Oh,
Kill
Don't
Cats
Fuck with
Online?
Cats.
Yeah, or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
Kill
Yeah,
Cats Online. I like that. That's
yeah,
the name of my next single.
yeah. And they say yeah, Etobicoke or something. Oh, anyways,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It
yeah,
was
hilarious.
poor Canada.
Rip.
Rip.
But yeah, if you're in public, how does that differ from kind of Blue 2, or is it basically you're just kind of going through the tracks in this really cool venue, right? Is that or do you feel like there's a different edge to it?
I think they definitely assimilate. I think they're two halves of a whole with the whole record. I love when bands do live videos. I just didn't want to do something in a studio because I don't think I could maintain anyone's interest for longer than 30 seconds if they were just sort of traditional studio videos. So I wanted to build some form of a COVID related void to it or emptiness, and I felt like somewhere that's normally packed with kids and the smell of
Yeah.
popcorn on like a Saturday, which I think we shot on a Saturday too, was just empty and freezing cold. And it kind of shows. It's supposed to feel a little sad, kind of like the record, I think. And I wanted to find a way to bring Wiggs back out, who Wiggs Wigz, who is the guy in the pink suit in it, who stars and directs it actually. I
Oh,
mean,
sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, he directed it. He's my subconscious in it. That's what we sort of came to terms with. That he is sort of the personification of my mind for this record, if that makes sense. He is the character of my mind for this whole thing. So we kind of have him in there as my subconscious, um, driving the thing and directing the thing. And he's now become a friend. He's a very very interesting guy, I will say.
That was good. Yeah, it's good to know
Yeah.
interesting people. It keeps your life, I guess, well, interesting, for lack of a better word, exciting and adventurous.
He's an adventurous guy too. I think he's up in northern Quebec right now, surveying land for some Australian oil company, just on a job he got. And I think he's called Wigs because he changes his hair seems like every fucking month. But he's got Habs hair right now, so he's got
Nice.
white, blue, and red, which I'm a little disappointed in him for. But
It's okay. You're also talking
no.
to a Habs fan, so it's fine.
Oh shit! And my laptop just died.
Bye. Yeah.
Tonight's gonna be interesting. I mean, I know this is June 8th potentially, but tonight is gonna be interesting. So
Yes. The we'll see what the future selves have to say about tonight. This is Game 5, elimination on the precipice.
it's happening, dude.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. I honestly
Sorry, I
not to
should not have brought
divert.
up hockey.
Yeah, not to
Oh,
divert too much, but I was telling my roommate before the series even started, and I don't hate me, other Habs fans. Okay, I'm just being truthful. Like I predicted 5 games well in advance. It's just just stats.
for
But
the Leafs.
yeah, I thought the Leafs were going to win in 5, so we'll see if I'm correct.
Fuck.
But
You're like Jonah Hill and Moneyball predicting this.
yeah, just a pessimistic Habs fan. But speaking, yeah, go back to the topic of your artwork and stuff too. I kind of curious about your photography as well, because I know you have some pretty cool shots in there. And how do you kind of have like a hierarchy in terms of what you prefer to do? Like, do you prefer to shoot video, take photos, write music, or is it just kind of all of the above?
It just feels like that I'm just grateful to be doing any of it.
Mm.
Um, and that I sort of, committed to doing all of it just to see, I've just been throwing shit at the wall for years and seeing what sticks. I mean, I obviously, I think I started, it's like that, like you try and think back to why did I start loving music? You know what I mean? Like why did you want to, do music journalism? And you start to, like, equate things to your childhood for the most part. Right. And I realized like, oh, it's because all I did was watch movies when I went to my dad's house every weekend. He'd rent like 4 movies, and that was our family time. And it's like, oh, okay, it makes sense. I was, my dad was a fucking VHS pirater, so it was like,
Nice.
okay, I clearly became obsessed with movies. And same with music, like just records everywhere playing all the time. And I think that stuff strikes you at a young age, and you don't really realize it until later.
Do you notice any of the movies that you watched growing up kind of still stand with you in terms of inspiration and influence?
Oh yeah, I'm writing a film right now, um, called 1999, about the year 99, because of the sort of, you know, profound influence it had on me now in retrospect, where I sort of had this weird, overwhelming nostalgia for that year specifically, which was, a pretty successful year, film wise, and also, informed me the most as a kid, I would say, because I would have been what, 11, 12 then. So I feel like those are formative years to begin with. And then you pair this sort of like, you just getting flushed with this sort of American culture through film at
Yeah.
that age. And it was like, I'm still just so in love with that era. Like like 99, if you go and look up films that were released that year, you'll be like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And it's just a fucking laundry list of incredible film. And I'm speaking subjectively from my own influence, but it just seemed like such like a pivotal year for me and for goddamn Hollywood.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that too with the film because I remember music too. That's yeah, like 99, 2000, probably up to like 2003. Like there was just some, for me, that was a very formative time as well. And yeah, I went through, I made a YouTube video a while back where I made this playlist with all of these songs. Every year of my life, I chose a song and constructed it chronologically like that. And yeah, just doing the research into whatever stood out. And there would just be these years where it was just like 50 to 100 tracks. I'm like, holy crap, like this was such a good year for music. And uh, yeah, I kind of just, you forget about stuff and then it pops up again. You're like, oh, yeah, yeah, I remember why I loved it so
Mhm.
much. So,
So you were doing doing the lineage of a time capsule if you're playing from, start of your life to present day. That's it's got to be an interesting thing to hear, sort of, the ebb and flow of that sort of quickly. You know what I mean? It's like a time lapse through that many years of music, which
yeah, and
is
it's cool to hear from start to finish. You definitely notice, the difference in everything, difference in sound, and even my personal taste starts to. You can see it starting to switch over, especially in high school and stuff like that too, which is fun. But
interesting. It'd be really, really interesting to see a sort of a graph, equating all of that as far as, yeah, personal tastes, production trends, where music was at, where the zeitgeist of it was. I feel like I'm seeing that infograph in my head right now, and it's pretty, it's vibrant.
that's cool. Yeah, well, hopefully make it turn it into something tangible. That'd be kind of cool to see, actually.
Hmm.
If you do get around to it, let me know. That'd be pretty sweet.
It's on my list now.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the screenplay that you're working on too? I'm kind of curious now about 99, or is it just very much in its infancy, early stages?
No, that one I started writing that one when I was 15. But
Oh, cool.
again, like, you want to talk about, like, your personal taste changing. If you were to read the first draft, which wasn't even a first draft, it was maybe, 15 pages in 2003, you'd be laughing at it. I'm gonna find it one day and get really high and watch it, or read
Or
it.
read it?
But
Yeah.
now it's just something I've been it's an idea. It's like the seed of an idea I've been chipping away at since then. But I'm actually working on a different one, funny enough, called Candy Cane, Kane with a
Nice.
K. So
Hey.
very serendipitous there. But that one I've been working on for the past like 4 or 5 years, and just trying to get it off the ground. Like, I don't understand I think I do the music and music video thing more because it's easier to access, and you can do it in, you can do it singularly, but for the most part. But film, you need an army, and you need people with money, because
Yeah.
money talks, and that's all film is, right? So I'm just overwhelmed by, you know, the patience of waiting to get the right people involved. But I think, like, to answer your question from earlier, this is what all this is heading towards. I think is it's sort of, putting the I've always kind of had the cart ahead of the horse with everything I do. Um, like, I remember going to shows in the mid 2000s and bringing unfinished demos that I quickly burned onto a CD that day, and giving them to like Fall Out Boy or like Sum 41, the bands you were in love with when you were 14, 15.
Yeah.
And like just being a dumb, naive child thinking, oh yeah, this is gonna be my fucking Mark Wahlberg rock star break. But it's I've realized now, like getting the cart behind the horse is a nice way to live. And I think by doing all this stuff, hopefully that is, that's putting that into practice to
Yeah.
try and get a film made. Ultimately, is what I'm trying to say. I think by making, hopefully, if I can make enough music videos, you sort of elevate to the next platform, and then continue from there. But time will tell. So if you know anyone who has about like 2.5 million, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one, but
Thank you.
I'll make a note of it.
You know who does? Pepsi.
That's right. Hey, sponsored by Pepsi. If this episode gets $2.5 million, I'll invest it all into your film.
If you get a cease and desist now from Pepsi, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass that over to you. That's your problem now. But that's an interesting point, because I think especially in the creative industry about having the getting your hopes up early on and having these like extravagant expectations almost subconsciously, where you're like, yeah, this is my break, this is going to work. Do you find it's difficult as a creative to still kind of have some sort of optimism in your work, or do you kind of just let it happen and what will be sort of thing, if that makes sense?
I think yeah, it does. I think I'm still partially delusional, which is why I'm still doing it. I think that's a requirement. If you don't sort of strike right away with what people might consider success, but I don't know. I feel like you also, there is like a epiphany, if you want to call it that, or at least I've had that, where I've said, it's kind of like, it's like an epiphany over a year of time. It's like a turtle's epiphany, and you just say, yeah, this is what I do, and I will figure this out, and what's the worst that's going to happen? I think like there's a certain amount of fear associated with a lot of things that are uncertain like this,
Yeah,
not
fear's
knowing
an
when your next
interesting word. Yeah.
fear is, I think, fear is funny to me. I think it's what it is. Like, I don't know. I just had this constant reminder that, hey, I'm gonna die one day. So really, honestly, that's been my
Yeah.
mantra, and that's sort of what just propels me and compels me to do it. It's that simple, really. I just tell myself that most days.
Yeah, I just got that's this is starting to make me think a bit harder about stuff too, because yeah, the idea of fear, it's not real. Like, it's such a hypothetical, non-existent being almost. It's part of, especially the creative process. People get afraid of rejection or something failing, but yeah, like the idea that we're not immortal, like we're all very gonna die. We're all gonna die one day, and having something that you're gonna just want to work towards for, without even that idea in mind, is very important.
Yeah, I think death can make you kind of hurry fast sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Once you kind of get aware of it, like, oh shit, that's behind me. Yeah, I should work on
Yeah,
something.
we don't know when we're gonna go. That's sort of the wake up call that can come with that. Is when the laziness sets in. Just push a little harder.
Yeah,
I still wish I could put, and that's like, I want to be pushing a lot harder than I do. I see people who, have sort of surpassed me many a times in their early 20s. They've lapped me twice on the track, so to speak. And it's just like, they pushed a little harder.
yeah.
Yeah.
And especially nowadays with social media being so prominent, and that expectation too. Like, it's so, as you get into your like late 20s, early 30s and stuff, the idea of seeing like athletes or celebrities or influencers that are like 18 years old just crushing it, it's like, holy shit, like what have I done with my life? But in that way, it's almost as fake as fear, right? It's just they're not you don't have the same circumstances, and um yeah, you can almost, it's almost damaging, it's equally as damaging as being afraid of your own failure or something.
I agree. I like that too. I'm taking that for a title. Fake is
Sure.
fear. As fake as that sounds so nice. I'm changing fear in public to fake is fear.
Fake or fear. No, fear is fake. Fake is fear. You can do
Fears.
too. Yeah, fear is
Okay.
fake. But yeah, I think if yeah, fear. If you think about it, yeah, like fear is not a. It's not a real thing. It's just like a reaction to something, and that hasn't even happened yet for the most part. So at least in terms of creativity, I'm not talking about somebody's chasing you, but in terms of being afraid of putting yourself out there and working towards something, it is very much a fake thing. It's not. It's not
Yeah.
there.
But you know, death is the real thing.
Yeah.
Just find the death mantra and you're good.
I've always been shunned by some of my friends, like, oh, you're such a, you're so negative and stuff like that. It's like, no, I like to consider myself very much a realist when it comes to that sort of thing. It's like, yes, I've understood the terms and conditions, and I'm going to do things as best as I can to my own liking, and we'll see how it goes. So,
Well, Kane, you're right. You know, cynics live in fear. I've come to realize.
yeah.
So
Wow, this podcast took a really interesting turn, but
death, death, death.
yeah, I went from kind of blue too to kind of
Very
morbid too.
blue. Yeah.
Very blue too. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ryan. This has been a good chat for sure. I was going to ask too. You're saying how that the guy Eddie that was in your videos, you've known him since you were 16.
Yeah.
How did he? How has he been part of your life? Like, who is this guy? I'm kind of curious. I'm just going to pry into your personal life now.
That's fine. Oh man, it got me so nostalgic too because I was thinking about this the other day. But I met Eddie. Um, you know, like we're around the same age or like generationally. I suppose we had the same sort of influences and whatnot growing up. But it's so weird to think about how you met people back when you were like 15, 16. Because now you have like such a concrete, uh, you know, memory and of how you meet people these days, and it becomes sort of just like A and B equals C, right?
Mhm.
But I think I met him through this. This is gonna sound so fucking funny, but like through the MySpace scene, and then we started seeing each other at shows, and then the mall. Like we'd be at the mall, and this guy fucking. You see Eddie at the mall when you're 16. This guy sticks out because at that point, he was tatted head to toe, which, was it was such like a SoCal thing back in the mid 2000s. It wasn't as common
Yeah.
to see here, right? Especially at that age when you're so so impressionable. And Eddie was at the mall. He's like 6 foot fucking two, and we met him, and then we started going to shows together. And then I remember we were at like a show where Travis Barker was playing, and one of these security guys just came and grabbed Eddie, brought him backstage, and then he's gone for like the whole show and comes back with a bag of swag later. I'm just like, okay, Eddie's interesting. And then we just started bonding. The first week we met him actually with my old band, we were called Chasing Amy. Fucking, we meet him at the mall, and next week he comes back and he has a Chasing Amy tattoo, like the logo right here on his shoulder, like this big, 4 inches by 4 inches, just slapped on his, his shoulder bone. And at that point, I was like, okay, this guy means business, and we've just been friends ever since, and we have very different lives. We don't talk as often as we used to, but he's still in the city here, and I like working with him whenever I can. He again was another actor who just kind of he fell off of acting for a bit, but was aspired to do it for a long time in the city here, and he was getting a lot of acting roles as the con in the jail cell in like in the action movie scene, the cellmate, the
Yeah.
big scary tattooed cellmate. And you talk to the guy for 3 seconds and he's completely disarms you, and he is the nicest and sweetest dude. um but I think where I'm going with that is that he's someone who, like, again, like that sort of like prejudice that might come into play when you meet someone. I had that when I first met him. I was fucking scared shitless of the dude. And now it's so nice to like see him in the city, and someone walk by him, like an old lady, and be like shitting in her drawers for a second, and then realize he's like the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
And his eyes are tattooed black now. He's got horns in his head. And I think he's going for some Guinness record for body modifications. I can't remember what it was exactly, but
Interesting.
he's trying to become, get the fucking get in that book. But we just been friends since then, so that's all. like 16 years ago, which is really kind of really crazy to think about. But he's just always been sort of, in and out of my life through that. And it's funny that you can like just simply you just met people at shows and on MySpace by putting yourself out there when you were young. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if the culture's still the same. I hope it is, but fuck, I don't know. It seems tougher to meet people the older you get.
Yeah, I think part of that too is like, I don't know, personally, it just gets tiring after a while. It's not so much that you don't want to, it's just like I don't know if I have the energy to launch something, this potentially, this intense. But I
Energy.
think there's still that dynamic. I think it's just obviously shifted to different platforms and slightly different dynamics. But I know a lot of people, are connecting through TikTok and Instagram and stuff, which is, I guess, kind of our version of MySpace.
Which is great. I used to be so cynical about a lot of that, but it's like the technology has grown so quickly, socially speaking, and I think that's such a benefit. I mean, there's certainly the pitfalls to it. I think it's a double-edged sword, but like communication has never been better and worse at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It's instant communication or ease of access to communication is so vivid now, but it's I wonder how much we're really talking.
Kind of deep too. This is
kind of deep too. That's the porn we're shooting for this album, actually.
Directed by Ryan Faist. Yep.
Hey, that's a good idea actually for the next. Keep switching up the sort of the visual components of this.
Yeah, like just further your multi-dimensionalism and just go right into pornography and then just jump into snuff films or whatever. Just kidding.
Snuff films would be sweet. I did think honestly for the next record, I had the idea of toying with. It's gonna be a pretty sad one, but I had the idea of toying with turning the whole visual element of it into a soap opera. So like shoot a soap opera while the music's all being performed live, but I'll need some money to do that.
Yeah, so Pepsi, if you're listening, back to our original point. That's really cool. I'm excited. Hopefully you kind of have some element or some ability to bring that to fruition, because that sounds like a very interesting. I feel like you're just always one step ahead of things and trying to make things as interesting and as engaging as possible. I feel. Is that
I feel like I'm 20 steps behind, but maybe that's a good thing as well. I think maybe that whole cart and the horse thing, maybe some people are meant to go a bit backwards. I don't know, but
yeah,
just do what I can.
Well, it's not to sound like a Chinese proverb, but if everyone's going ahead and they're all going to look the same direction, right? You want to be looking a little off sometimes.
That's on your tombstone.
Boom. Yeah. Cynical Habs fan, all facing the same way. Yeah.
Kind of deep too.
Kind of deep too.
When you die, that's kind of deep too.
And there's an easy sequel name too. Like you just switch the two.
Oh yeah, that's true. That there is a lot of you could do a play on words there for sure. Kind of deep too. Okay, then we're getting that's going to be a better porn for sure.
It's in a ballet, some New York City ballet thing or something.
Careful the ideas you give me. You've already written some lyrics for me. So.
Oh man, yeah, this is great. I'm excited. Hey, look, just slap my name in the album lining. I'll be okay with that. That's all.
Done.
But yeah, guys, don't forget to check out Kind of Blue too. It's already been out since Friday, June 4th. And check out Fear in Public too. Just if you want something a little different to ease your mind in a weird way, I feel is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, thanks so much, Ryan, for chatting with me. I appreciate you coming on the show.
It's nice to chat with someone, genuinely.
Yeah. Oh, and what are I know your handles, your socials are a bit different because it's not quite Ryan Faist. It's
no, don't. My friends are gonna ream me up for that. I haven't played the game too well. It's just at Cowboy Drugs if you're on Instagram, and then you can find just ohboywonder.com.
Yeah, check out his website. HTML coding from grade 7 worked out very, very well. It looks pretty cool, honestly. Yeah. Well, Cowboy Drugs. What a strange choice of words.
What a strange life.
Dude, it goes right up there with Cocaine Cowgirl.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you can switch that
That's
up.
Good.
All right. Well, thanks. Anyways, thanks so much, Ryan. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me, Kane, and thank you for talking to me.
it always, yeah, I guess the moral of the story is if you put a picture of Jonah Hill in a pitch release, I'm probably gonna read it.
The Jonah Hill thing fucking works.
I was like, what the hell is this? But yeah, it works. Sometimes it just works. So,
Love that.
all right. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks very much, Kane.